So I wanted to do a video today on why sometimes your manifestations don't happen and maybe aren't even meant to happen. Um, so I've been having a lot of realizations over the past few days, and I'm going to try and share them in this video as much as I possibly can, because I feel like there's been so much, and I might end up having to make a few videos. But I'm gonna try and remember the things that I wanted to say. Um, so basically, we are always manifesting based on our strongest desire, right? That's, you have a desire and you manifest it into being. So sometimes I feel we get into these I don't even know where to start on this topic. So basically at the core of ourselves, our truest desire is to come into alignment and union with self and have that reflected externally in an outer union to match the inner union. And actually living in the end is living in alignment. So anything that comes up that's not a match to being in alignment is kind of like when you manifest something smaller and you have a bridge of incidences to get you there. We can actually start to see life as one big bridge of incidents into self-actualization and alignment, which is why I'm not going to say manifesting is bad, because there is no good and there's no bad, and you can have whatever you want, and we're here to, have our journey to in whatever way we feel. And actually, I'm going to explain in a minute what I still think manifesting has good, is useful along the way. But so when you have your bridge of incidents, it's basically clearing. So you say you desire something, then you're shown what it is that's blocking you from currently having that, like what resistance you have to having that. And when you come from a perspective of true alignment to self, to source, to inner union, to outer union, basically anything that's not that is your resistance to that. It's the same with manifesting smaller things. But the problem with going in and meddling too much, and this all came from me having like a smaller realization actually, is I actually applied for this like part-time job thing. I thought it sounded quite cool, but it wasn't really in my deepest desire. And when I got an email back saying, oh, you don't have it, like in the past I would have felt really rejected. I would have reacted to the 3D showing up that I didn't get accepted. But actually this time I read it very differently. I was like, I don't think I was really meant to have that, because my highest desire was this. And that's not in alignment. And that's the thing. If your strongest desire is to be in twin flame union or to have your ultimate connection, then you're not going to be able to manifest a lesser connection. Whilst it's your current desire, you will. So, you could, for example, be desperate to have children, and that desire could overtake temporarily your desire for the ultimate union. So you could manifest it. You can manifest anything you want. I have no question that you can't manifest anything you want. What I'm saying you can't manifest, I don't believe, is what's not your strongest current desire. So if you've already set your target for, I want to be in twin flame union, I want my ultimate love, then you're not going to really be able to manifest anything else. You're going to have it come into your world because it's showing you. So if you say, I want to manifest my twin flame union, and then you meet a really strong connection and they reject you, that's not because you're not manifesting them successfully. That's because that connection is showing you why you're not in a harmonious twin flame union, or you're not in union with yourself. So that connection is like, hey, hold up. You're not in this ultimate thing you desire because you've got all these blocks. So I'm here to help you remove some of these blocks. I'm actually a bridge of incidents. And by reacting to those blocks, you're keeping them alive. You're keeping that connection going. And so, for example, if someone comes in and they reject you, you're not living in your ultimate end by chasing that person. Your end is, I am in harmonious twin flame union. Like, then you let go of the details. When we become really attached to things on the process, then we're basically getting attached to the blocks. They're there to neutralize. And this is the thing, that's why I'm saying it's not wrong to focus on them, and it's not wrong to manifest anything you want, because it's actually helping you clear your resistance. Because if you're not in harmonious twin flame union, you have resistance to it. And anything that shows up in your life is helping you clear that resistance to be in this. But what I'm saying is, if your deepest desire is this, you're not really ever going to be able to manifest this. And as much as you try, while your deeper desire is something different, it's never going to quite fall into place. And I think this is the answer to why a lot of us are like, oh, but I know we can manifest anything, but why is this not quite like fitting in? And it's because it's not really your deepest desire. And whilst we understand bridge of incidence on a smaller scale, maybe we need to like understand bridge of incidences on a massive scale. That, you know, if you say want a specific job and you don't get it, it's not necessarily that your manifestation is bad. Maybe your stronger desire is that you are following the sort of career that you feel is in the deepest alignment with self, and you want that more than you want that little job. And that little job is just showing you where you've got your resistance to this. Does that make sense? Trying to explain this. That's why we shouldn't have any judgment to what shows up. And the sooner that we can not have judgment to it and not take it personally, the sooner we can have the thing that we really want. So, for example, you really want this person, like you really want a harmonious twin flame union, or you want your ultimate relationship, and then a person shows up that rejects you. As soon as you make that like a wrong or a right or a good or a bad, and you place some kind of judgment on it, you're kind of keeping it alive rather than understanding it as a part of the process. And really the ultimate process is to be present, is to be to just be. But this has a bit of a journey to it. You see, I feel a lot of people try and go about this in a way. So whilst I feel that the ultimate is to get rid of desires that are not in alignment to your true self, if you don't integrate and show up, then you're kind of just bypassing, which is what I feel a lot of people do when they kind of go and say, oh, I'm gonna just go and live in a mountain and not have sex and not have any desires and never touch coffee. You're not integrating, you're just repressing. It's always a very repressive energy. Like, I know I went to be on an ashram for some yoga teacher training, and it just felt so repressive. I felt like nobody was living their authentic truth. They were sort of like just repressing desires. And that's definitely not what I mean by being. Being is a state of allowing your highest desire and your desire that's completely in alignment with self. And you don't really even need to write it out on a piece of paper or any of these things, because when you're in alignment with self, that's the reflection that shows up. So it's just naturally going to bring you the most joy. And you can't, and when you're trying to force something to work and manifest it, but deep in your heart, you know you've got a desire that's deeper and more in alignment with your true self, then that's when that might not be working out for you. And it's about getting really honest with yourself. What do I really want here? What do I really desire? Because you can manifest anything you want. I see people manifesting all the time. I've manifested things, but do they bring you ultimate fulfillment and joy? No, not really. Because ultimate fulfillment and joy is being in alignment with self, and kind of there's a natural manifestation process that takes place that brings you that alignment back and the things that are in alignment with your inner union. But I'm not saying it's wrong to manifest, because that's life. That's a human experience that we are allowed to, we're always manifesting. You're manifesting bad stuff, good stuff, 24/7. And it's not a bad thing to experience anything you want to experience in life. There is no judgment. You can manifest anything, you can enjoy it, you can experience it. And there's nothing wrong with the process, because if you're manifesting it, then it is your current desire. And it's all taking us to the same place anyway. Because it takes work to be present. It takes work to be in alignment. You can't just, it's kind of what I say about surrendering. You don't just surrender. You clear the blocks and the resistance that are in the way of knowing it's yours or believing it's yours and being able to surrender into presence. I don't believe you can trick the system like this and just say, I'm going to be present. Because if you're asking for that, you'll be shown the ways in which you're in which you have a resistance to being present, and then once you integrate those, then you can be. And yeah, I just think life is one big manifestation of coming into alignment with self, into union with self, and that will be the fact that you're then in a twin flame union is just it's the byproduct of finding your own alignment. And we can do that through manifesting and through understanding our desires on a deeper level, which is why I'm not against manifesting as part of the process, because you're really exploring what it is that is your desire and what is in alignment with yourself. But I think this is why it's really important to manifest in a very conscious way and to be really honest with yourself and to always check in with yourself. Is this in my alignment? Is this my current true desire? You can actually feel quite often when you're off path and when you're on path. And when I say on path, it doesn't necessarily mean you have the stuff that you want, but it means you're working towards it. Like sometimes, you know, if you've said, I want to be in harmonious twin flame union, or I want to be living my purpose, you might have something that you're very, very drawn to, or a person you're very, very drawn to, and it might be absolute hell, but it will still feel like it was part of your path and it was on path. You can generally feel when you go, I mean, there is no wrong or right. It's okay to go whatever path you want, but you can always feel when you're kind of going off path and you're not actually working towards your truest desires, because it's that feeling of like wasted time and like, am I wasting my time here? That's a very different feeling to I'm being really, really drawn to this desire. And even though it's all going wrong, I'm so drawn to it. They're the things that are helping you shift your blocks to have your truest desire, which is always self-alignment. Everybody's is going to be the same ultimately. How that pans out and expresses itself will be different, but everybody's deepest desire is to be in true alignment and union with self and have that reflected in their outer world. Until then, it's like shifting through experiences and and using them to integrate, not to repress, not to pretend you're present when you're not. It's using like desires are like, they're like little beacons of what you need to work on. It's like, oh, you're desiring me because there's something in there that needs to be integrated. So yeah, when you end up attaching too much and trying to force like a square peg in a round hole, you're kind of micromanaging your truest desire, which is to be in union, or whatever your current truest desire is at that time. All it takes is to allow it, and anything that's coming up that's not it and is feeling like a very strong trigger, it's showing you your current reality is just showing you all your current blocks to your heaven on earth. So rather than ignore it, it's about acknowledging it and integrating it and seeing what it is that is coming up as a block for you. Wrote some notes. Have I covered everything? Yeah, I think that's everything that I was going to say. But this has been coming to me really strongly lately, that sometimes we just keep on trying to force a manifestation when we know in our heart it's not our deepest desire. It's why manifesting isn't just like wanting something. The process is coming into alignment, is to experience true presence and alignment and having that reflected in your outside world. Manifesting to me, when done consciously, is a process of getting into that state by using your current desire as like a marker for why you're not there. And there's little stages, like you might feel something's your ultimate and you will be drawn to it, and by manifesting it you're kind of helping clear the roadblocks to it. And then when you're there, you're like, oh, actually, when I'm honest with myself, there's some gaps here and this isn't actually my truest alignment. And that's what life is. It's experiencing these things. I've had it in connections, I've had it in like work. I used to think photography was my thing, and I really did, although there was always that like block to it really, for me, really getting there. And when I worked through the blocks that were stopping it, I realized it actually wasn't my truest desire. It wasn't really my in alignment career, but it was there because it really, what came up with photography was a lot of rejection stuff, a lot of expressing stuff. Like there was just a lot of stuff that came up through that career path that when I worked through it, I realized I don't actually want to do this anymore. It's not actually that in alignment with who I am. But, I was following my truest desire when I was doing it. It just wasn't my ultimate desire. And this is why I just don't think you can force a state of presence or a state of being in alignment, because we kind of need these little experiences and these manifesting things. They kind of help us to understand what is in alignment. And what is our truth. And it's the same with having connections. You know, if you're really, really drawn to somebody, I mean, I think we all have this desire in us. We all have the same desire to be in union with ourselves, and that's always reflected in an outer union. So I think we're kind of pre-programmed to look for that union. We're looking for it outside of ourselves when really it's inside of ourselves, but it's sort of the way that it's like the carrot to encourage you to grow, because if it was just, oh, you're here to find inner union, no one would really bother. Like, it's the relationship experience is the carrot, right? It's the byproduct of the inner union, but it's what we're used to kind of be tempted by to get the work done, to evolve, to become conscious. It's how it's set up. It's a holographic universe, what's within, so without. And we use the outer to evolve on the inner. But yeah, by manifesting, you are really, and doing the conscious work, you're really just working out what really is in your alignment. But deep down, we all want true love. We all want, you know, you can give it whatever label you want, but twin flame union, which is basically coming into inner wholeness and having that reflected on the outside. And anything that comes up that isn't that is showing you where you're out of alignment with that. So don't get caught on the like, they're not even lessons, but don't get caught on the bridge of incidents. We're used to doing it on smaller manifestations because we're like, oh, don't react because it's a bridge of incidents. But life is a bridge of incidents. Life is a bridge of incidents from being unawakened to being in union. And anything else in the middle is just showing you where you're out of alignment, and it's about not reacting to it. But that's a process, you know. It's not as easy as you have a cup of coffee and you don't react to you not getting the cup of coffee in the first coffee shop. When it comes to life, you know, there's a lot more involved. But it's ultimately the same thing. It's not getting attached to, you know, it's coming to a state where you're not reacting to the bridge of incidents to allow the ultimate to unfold. So this connection you've got this really strong pull to rejects you, the sooner you can come into the place of not feeling rejected by it, not taking it personally, and knowing that it is just showing up to show you why you're not in union, the quicker you can get into union. So, yeah, life in itself is one big bridge of incidences to bring you to inner union. So try and take as little time as possible to come to non-reaction on the lessons and to integrate them. But yeah, it's not by just bypassing them, you know, like the kind of very highly spiritual methodology of I'm just going to remove myself from all temptation. You know, that's not the way. I don't feel that's the way. The way is to integrate, and, you know, nothing wrong with desires, but it's understanding why we're having the desires. And that's why manifesting should go hand in hand with integrating and removing the veils of the ego. Because when you're doing them simultaneously, you'll see why you're having the desire you're having. And a lot of the desires will be from an ego perspective. And you won't even know that till you've shifted through the veil and you've seen that. And that's why you can have a massive pull to something, to somebody, to some job, to some lifestyle thing. And then you can get it, and you can, as long as you have awareness and you're being conscious, you can be like, oh, okay, you know, I actually see that I didn't, you know, this thing hasn't brought me happiness and joy or into alignment. I just wanted this thing because of X, Y, Z. And that's how you can start to remove the veils of the ego, so you can really truly see what your core desire is. So it's not that the desires are bad, it's just like understanding where the desire comes from. And then eventually you just get to the process where you know that your only desire is inner alignment reflected as outer alignment. So manifestation sort of just becomes one big bridge of incidences of life to come into inner alignment. So I hope this made sense. I always just have some thoughts and then I lay them down in video and have really loose notes, and they're not very well planned. I'm sorry. It's just the way that I am and the way that I share my experiences. So I hope that resonated. I wanted to share that because it was quite a profound feeling that I came into over the last few days, and hope everyone's good.